Okay, welcome back, kiddos. We made it to the review for chapter 1. Next time we will be taking our test, so let's go through these examples. Everything that you see on here, these are the exact problems that are on the test. You should see no other style problems. You're just going to see these problems with different numbers. Okay, so let's go through these. All right, so the first one, this is from 1.1. Okay, so name the figure below in two different ways. So on this day, we talked about rays, lines, and segments. Okay, so rays, the symbol is like this. Okay, as it that and that. The symbol on this one is two arrows. The symbol on this one is this and this. All right, and here's how we name it. All right, we're going to name it with the, we're going to have two letters, and it's the end point first, then another point. Okay, end point first, then another point. Okay, lines. Okay, so the symbol is that. So here's how we name it. We're going to name a line with the endpoints. Two. A line is any 2 points. Okay, and then on a segment, this one is the symbol that we're going to use, and we're going to name it using. This one's going to be named using the endpoints. Okay, so we recognize that these are the endpoints, right? Right over here, that's how we would name those with 2 letters. And then we have our lines. Okay, so I'm going to just do this little color. So we got this for our rays, right? This for our lines, and this for our segments. So let's take a look at this. Here's our hint. All right, we're going to think, look at the ends. Okay, look at the ends, right? That's what we're thinking for this one. Okay, so if we look at the ends, it has 2 arrows, right? So we're going to think this is a line. We're going to name it using this symbol and any 2 points. All right, so our answers would be using this, right? We could say WB, right? WB, or we could say BW, right? BW. Okay, so those are just 2 of the ways that we can do it. So we're going to think, look at the ends, and that's our answers. All right, let's keep it moving. So we said that one is 1.1. Okay, so all these going forward are going to be 1.1 until we say it. All right, so this one, name the angle, marked angle in 2 different ways. All right, so here's what we need to remember is that we have to, we're going to think, name using 3 letters. And here's the order. Ray, vertex, and then ray. Okay, and if this is the vertex, right, that's where the V is, then we would name this, we said ray, vertex, ray. So we'd say LMK. So we're going to say angle LMK. Or we could say, we can go the other way, right, as long as this is in the center. So KML, KML. Okay, so those are our answer choices. All right, so that's what we're going to think, is that name it using 3 letters, and the order is ray, vertex, ray. All right, let's keep it moving. All right, this one is name this plane that's indicated in the highlighted diagram below. All right, so on a plane, here's what we're going to think. It's named with 3 non-collinear points. Okay, so we would call this plane, you can name it different ways, right? If we see this blue one, the points that are on there are J, Q, P, and L, right? Because it goes slanted. So we had to use 3 of those. So I could say J, Q, P. Not L, K, right? It's J, Q, P, and K, not L. I even made that mistake looking at that, right? We're looking right here. So we need to look at these points. J, Q, P, and K. So that's one of the answers. All right, so that's what we need to think, is that it's named using 3 non-collinear points. All right, next, find the distance. All right, so here's the key word, find the distance. And now this one is on 1.2 day. 1.2. Okay. All right, so on the distance formula, we said that we need to, here's what we're going to think. Number 1, label. Okay, so we're going to say that's x1, y1, x2, y2, right? And then 2, we're going to think, we're going to use the distance formula, right? We're going to say that squared plus that squared, right? So we're going to say x2 minus x1 and y2 minus y1. Okay, so let's set it up 2 different ways. Okay, what if I ask you to do it 2 different ways? Because you can go either way when you're talking about distance, right? Okay, so we should have said either -3 minus -6, so -3 minus -6, so double negative. And then this one is 1 minus -3, 1 minus -3. Okay, then on this one, otherwise, we could go the other way, right? We could say -6 minus -3, -6 minus -3, or negative, and then -3 minus 1, -3 minus 1. Okay, so either way, you got to make sure on these, though, that it extends all the way. So in class, we're going to practice typing that in. So make sure you type it in just like that. The main thing is that it extends all the way, right? If we did that, then our correct answer would be 5. The correct answer is 5. All right, next. This one, point M. Okay, so this one is also on 1.2 day. Okay, so on this one, it says point J is on line segment IK. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to draw it. Right, so I is on one end, K is on the other. Okay, it says J is on the line. It just says somewhere. Okay, JK is 10. Oop. JK is 10. So that means from J to K is 10. I'm just going to put a different color just to pop it out at you. Right? Then I to K is 19. I all the way to K is 19. So I can do it like that, right? The whole thing is 19. So if I'm trying to find IJ, right, that's between I and J, you can do it like that, right? So if I start with the whole amount and I'm working backwards, I'm going to say 19 minus 10 equals IJ, right? IJ equals 19 minus 10, which is equal to 9. Okay, so that's what we're going to think. Number 1 is we're going to draw. All right, so now let's step it up. Okay, so you got this as well. Think about this one. Okay, so this one says point F is on line segment EG. So that means one end is E, one end is G. Okay, F is on the line, so that means F is somewhere, right? FG is 3x minus 5. F to G is 3x minus 5. EF is x. E to G is 5x minus 8. E to G is 5x minus 8. Okay, determine the length of FG. Okay, so that's what they want us to find is FG. All right, so let's set up an equation, right? We're going to think one part plus the other part equals the whole thing. So we're going to say x plus 3x minus 5 equals the whole thing of 5x minus 8. All right, so x plus x is 4x minus 5 equals 5x minus 8, right? Okay. So let's see here. We're going to subtract 5x. Subtract 5x. We know that's going to be a negative, right? Negative 1x, right? Minus 5 equals negative 8. Okay, we know we're going to add 5, add 5. So that means negative 1x equals negative 3. That means x equals 3. But we're not going to forget, we're going to think, substitute at answer. All right, so think substitute at the answer. Whenever we have the answer, we're gonna substitute. So they're asking for FG. FG is 3x minus 5, right? So we're gonna say FG is 3x minus 5, which is equal to 3 times, instead of the x, we're gonna put 3, right? So then if you put that in our calculator, right, 3 times 3 is 9, minus 5 gives us 4 is our final answer. So most common wrong answer is 3, right? We got to substitute, so we got to look at that answer. All right, let's keep it moving. So those are going to be the first set of problems on the test. Same things, just different numbers. All right, next one, midpoint formula. Okay, so on this one, this is a key word, is midpoint, right? So we're going to use our first thing we're going to do is we're going to label, right, x and y. Right, so we're going to say that's x1, y1, right, and that's x2, y2, right, and then we're going to think for the x, we're going to add the x1 plus the x2, right, divide by 2. And for the y, we're going to say the y1 plus y2 divided by 2, right? Okay, so let's do that. All right, so then 3, we're just going to write it, right, we're just going to write it as x comma y. Okay, so let's do that. All right, so on this one, if we said x equals the two x values, right? So -2 plus -6, -2 plus -6 over 2. The y value is -4 plus 4, because those are the y's, over 2. Right, so if we put that in our calculator, right, we just type that in just like that. That's going to be -8 divided by 2, which is -4. Okay, this is going to be 0 divided by 2, but we just type that whole thing into our calculator, right? And that would be y equals 0, right? And so then our final answer is x value of -4, y value of 0, right? That's our final answer, okay? Because we're just using our x that we found, right? We're going to put it there, as we said, and then our y that we found. We put there. All right, next, let's keep it moving. This is setting it up on the next level. Okay, so this one, now they give us the midpoint. They want to know what B is. Okay, so on this one, the first step we want to do is label A, M, and then B. All right, so we're going to say A, M in the middle, and then B. Right, then we put our points. So, because we know A is on one end, B is on the other, right? M is -3, 1. M is -3, 1. Okay. B, if A is 1, 6, right? 1, 6. Okay. So the second step is to continue the pattern with using the rule. Using the rule. Okay, the rule is what we do. So if we don't know for sure, we're going to see how much these are separated. So this is what we're going to type in. We're going to say 1 minus the other number, right? So everyone's type that in. 1 minus -3 gives us 4, right? And if we know we're going from a positive to a negative, the rule is -4. Right, so the rule is -4. So if we put 1 minus 4, we get -3. So let's type that into our calculator. -3 minus 4, right? If we did -3 minus 4, that gives us -7, right? So that's how we get the -7 right there, right? And then let's do the y, right? So obviously we're subtracting this way, right? But if we didn't know how much, we'd say 6 minus 1, right? So that gives us 5. That's how much we're subtracting. So we're subtracting 5, right? So that's our rule. So that's what we're going to type in our calculator, 1 minus 5, right? 1 minus 5 is -4, right? So that means our answer is, for B, is -7, -4, because we're going to use that, we're going to use that. Okay, so that's it. All right, next, let's keep it moving. Okay, solve for solve for the measurement of angle LJK. So I'm going to trace that out, and I would encourage you to do it on your screen, LJK, when you're working that. So that's what we need to find. If I to J to K is 88, I to J to K, the whole thing is 88. Okay, I, j to L is 54. I to j to L. So just this much is 54. So let's think. We have the whole thing in one part. We're trying to find the other one. We're going to work backwards, right? We're going to say the measurement of angle LJK is 88 minus 54, right? So that gives us 34 degrees. Okay, simple as that. Okay, so we're going to think part plus part equals whole. If they give us the whole amount, they don't tell us it's 90, right? We don't know that it's 90, right? It's actually 188, 88, right? So that's it. Okay, let's highlight that. All right, next, these are, this is our last day, right? This is 1.6. We talked about these. All right, so here's what we need to remember. We're going to think that this adds to 180, right? We're going to think this is 90, right? And then we remember these are congruent, right? Those two, okay? And then we can think those two, right? So the ones across from each other. So B and 21, right? So B equals 21, right? So we should see that, right? B, this one and this one are the same, right? And B is equal to 21. We should definitely see that C and B are not the same, right? We see this shape and that shape. But these two add to 180, right? C and 21 adds to 180, right? If C plus 21 equals 180, that means you would just subtract, right? So that means C equals 159 degrees. Okay. All right, next, let's keep it moving. All right, so then on these last ones, we did these the last day. These are on 1.6, so we're just going to set these up. Okay, set these up. All right, so this one, I see that this is 90 degrees, right? So then I'm going to think part plus part equals 90. All right, so let's set that up. Okay, so we would say the first part of 7n minus 3 plus the second part of 37 equals our 90. Okay, so we're just going to set it up, and then you can solve. All right, so then we're just trying to set it up. All right, next, this one we're going to think adds up to 180, right? So we're going to think part plus part equals 180 on this one. So we would say 6z plus 1 plus the 77 equals 180, right? Next, on this one, we would say part equals part, right? We would say 9e minus 8 equals 8e plus 2. Okay? And then our last one, if this much is 90, right? If we recognize that that's 90, that means 41 and that equals 90 as well, right? Because if the whole thing adds up to 180, we could say P minus 3 plus 41 equals 90, not 180, right? And so that's what we want to do to set it up. Okay, so if you want to get these answers, I can go over those answers with you. Actually, pause the video, see if you can get those, and I'll give you the answers. All right, x equals 8. Okay, z equals negative 17. Okay, e equals 10. And p equals 52. All right, I know you got this. Just practice on this before the test, and you will be in great shape.